Hi, I'm Susan. Welcome to Keepsake Books to Celebrate and Commemorate. The book that we're making today is a simple accordion, and the theme is We Are All in This Together. I'm recording this in the time of the pandemic, and that's something that we're talking about a lot. But I think that that's something that is helpful in any time. The more that we can understand each other, the more that we can understand that our behavior impacts other people, the more understanding we can be, the better life is going to be for everyone. So what I've done in this is, rather than use specific people or even kind of people, I'm using symbols to stand for people. So I've done we are stars shining in the sky, we are flowers in the garden. You can do leaves on a tree, trees in the forest, fish in the sea. The only thing I suggest is that you pick a symbol that's fairly easy to illustrate. All we need to make this book is just one piece of paper. I like to use paper from the recycling bin that has writing. You can only have writing on one side, the other side is blank. So we're going to start by folding it in half and having the side with the writing be on the inside. And I did a lot of teaching with kids, so I call this kind of a fold a hot dog fold because the paper is long and skinny. Now I'm going to take one side, I'm going to fold it in half by taking one side, bringing it over to the other side and creasing it. Then I will take the top layer, which is two sheets thick because of the fold we made. I'm going to bring this over to the edge, line it up, and then crease it. And then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And now we have our accordion. You'll notice that there are open edges on one side and folds on the other. I prefer to have the folds on the top, but that's not something that's essential. Now, if this were done on a thinner piece of paper, I would want to put covers on it. But because we fold it in half, because we have the double layer, we actually don't need to do that. This book gives you 4 pages, and sometimes you want to make a longer book, so what we're going to do is we're going to make 2 and attach them together. So to do that, what I do is I will have a strip of paper. I'm going to cut a strip of paper that is the same height as the books, and this is going to be what is the connector. And I'm going to take that paper, I'm going to fold it in half so it's long and skinny like a hot dog. And then any fold can either be held one of 2 ways. It can be like a valley or it can be like a mountain. And we're going to use this like a mountain. And what I'm going to do is glue one side of the mountain to one of the books and one side of the mountain to the other one. So in order to glue, when I'm gluing anytime you glue in a book, it's always helpful to use scrap paper because you don't want to make a mess of the surface, but you also don't want to get it in other parts of the book. So I'm going to start by putting glue on one side of the fold. And then I'm going to take this paper and I'm going to fold it in half. I may have gotten glue on there, maybe not, but just as a precaution, I always take the paper and fold it in half so the glue is on the inside. And now I'm going to take my accordion, I'm going to set it on top of one side of the mountain right along the fold. And I'm going to press on it to crease it, and then I'll turn it over to the other side to make sure. It's the pressure that's going to make the glue stick. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to put glue covering the strip, and then I'm going to put the other side on. And so one thing I want to be careful of is I have the fold up here, so I want to make sure when I put this one on, the fold is also up there. And then I have my 8-page accordion. When I'm doing this is a little floppy here. This kind of wants to flip open. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here and press it down. Normally in bookmaking, you want to really go after and cover the whole surface, but for this, just a little bit of glue will help. And so one of the things is this kind of a book, by doing it this way, you're always going to get multiples of 4. But I think this is the easiest way to make an accordion. And even if I'm making a book with 6 pages, I would make 8, and then I would cut off 2. What I like about accordion books is that when you open them up, you can see everything at the same time. In this book, what I did to start, and I'm just going to hold it up, a little section of it up closer so that you can see it better. What I did was I cut aluminum foil stars, and then I glued them on the paper. I added the writing, I did the writing next, so I wrote the line at the bottom, and I did a little pencil line to start with to get, so that I could see what it was going to be like. I wrote around the stars, and this is something, so this is, the theme is we're all in this together. This is stay-at-homers, postal workers, grocery store workers, healthcare workers, anyway, all the things that we're doing to do our part. So I did the writing next, and then after that I took a blue crayon and I just went over and went around everything. And then I also did a cover. For the flower garden, for the flowers in the garden book, I used a grocery bag rather than just plain white paper. And I'm going to hold this up really close, because if you look at the flower, except for the center, it is all made from paper that comes from the inside of security envelopes. You'd be surprised where you can find interesting paper. So what I recommend is that you start a collage box, so that anytime interesting paper comes your way, you can put it in the box, and then you have things to work with when you want to do some collage. And I think the collage is one of the easiest ways to illustrate something. Matisse, who did collage work at the end of his life, he said, I draw with my scissors. So my suggestion, it's based on my own experience and what I see when I've given workshops, is that I think the most interesting things come from people who don't draw them first and cut them out, but just actually draw with their scissors. I hope that you enjoy making these books, and thanks for watching.